Hello, hello, and welcome to a Time Machine episode of Non Sequitur News. This is for July 28th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 210. Today we're going to be talking about GMC Truck Tracking, buyers reject lofty prices, skilled electrician boom, water polo surprising supporter, Imitation Semaglutide, derailing a train for views, evacuated as large crater opens, 3D printed homes, the Altman basic income study, and you know what? Production values. Thieves are planting hidden cameras. That's what we're going to be talking about. And between this episode and next episode, you'll be able to get the show notes from our Omatron bot, which I'll explain on the other side. All right, folks. So just to get it out of the way, things are a little kind of crazy with today's episode. Just this one episode, though. The next one, I need to get everything all lined up. But I was at a conference all week, and so I didn't have the ability to do the show for the last week. And we won't be able to do tonight's weekly shows because we just got in and it's not ready to go. So we will be doing them over the week and playing catch up. And then next Sunday, we'll be back in the same groove of doing them all at one time on the weekend. That said, let's get into today's EPS. I am Mayor Watt, and that little visualizer next to me is for the sentient AI.
Welcome, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
Yay. All right. And there's no ambient background music right now. So if that's driving you crazy, let me know in chat. Normally what you can do is type in ! Show notes. You can actually still do that. Well, actually, I'm not sure Omatron is live. There was a storm that took out the system that was running Omatron, but it will be live again here after today's show. But it doesn't help because you can only get the latest episode show notes. For this episode, go over to YouTube. When we're done, I'll be moving over each episode over to YouTube, and you'll be able to look at the show notes, click on the links, and go to the various articles. All right. So the first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Your new GMC truck may be tracking your every movement and sharing its data with data brokers. Or I should say, your data with data brokers.
I mean, why wouldn't it be, right? Everything else is sharing your data.
Yeah, we had actually reported a while back some news that had basically said a person has filed a Freedom of Information Act request to obtain certain information about themselves from a company. And yeah, but is there an echo on the intro and outro? Yeah. So this person who filed, and I can't remember the name, it's been a couple of months now, they filed a request, and the information they got led them basically to all of the places that they drove around, including the time that they filed the paperwork. So it was really interesting that they knew exactly where the people were pretty much at all times because it was transmitting the GPS data. And while in this case, it says GMC Truck may be tracking your every movement and sharing it with data brokers. The other company said, well, they're not selling it, but they're selling it to data brokers, and then the data brokers are selling it to whoever wants it. So senators called on the FTC to investigate some automakers for surreptitiously sharing drivers' data. Two senators named General Motors, well, this is really interesting. The way that the sentence is constructed.
Oh, like
Two
that's an odd
senators
name for
named
a
General
senator.
Motors, Honda, and Hyundai. So no. It's two senators, and they've named General Motors, Honda, Hyundai in their letter to the FTC demanding action. They accuse the companies of sharing driving and location data under the guise of lowering rates, and all of that's just bullshit. It's nothing more than making money. They are making money by selling your identifiable information to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that decides to ask for it. Um, and frankly, what we need are right to be forgotten and privacy laws enumerated in such a massive way that it makes this kind of stuff impossible. And lowering rates is bullshit. There's no way that they're making enough money from these little sales that it should have a fundamental impact on the profitability. Not even the profitability. So it shouldn't have a fundamental impact on the price of the hardware that people are purchasing. Their profitability, GMC's profitability, yes, they're going to lose 0.5% somewhere. Big freaking deal. Let's claw
Right,
back our
but they
privacy.
probably already pumped it up multiple percents,
Right.
right, to begin
Right.
with.
Exactly. Well, this actually goes even deeper because the reality is that automakers are now starting to panic because people are getting sick of the high prices. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. But Katie Belovic over at BusinessInsider.com put this article together. So the little deck statement, their summary is what I already talked about. But um, yeah, there's others: GMC, Cadillac, Chevy, Buick, Honda, Hyundai, surreptitiously sharing drivers' data with data brokers. They called on the FTC to hold the companies and their senior executives responsible if they broke the law. They're the ones that write the law and then hand it to a senator. And oh, okay, here, let me rubber stamp that.
Right,
Um,
let's police ourselves, right?
yeah, basically. So General Motors, Honda and Hyundai, um, each shared driver's acceleration and braking data with brokers, and the General Motors disclosed customer location data with at least two companies. The senators wrote they accused the companies of not seeking consumer consent for data sharing or using murky techniques to get drivers to opt in, like implying that the data would only lower insurance bills when it could raise rates as well. And you might ask yourself why that is, and it's called hard braking or reckless driving, hard acceleration. The whole idea is that you don't come across as, your average grandma kind of driver.
So wait a second. Not only are they selling or sharing data, which is a problem anyway, but then they're doing it to penalize the driver
Yeah, odds on. Yeah. It's never
because their insurance rates are probably going up, right? When they find out that they're a hard breaker or whatever.
right. Or reckless driver in some way. Yeah. And the thing about it is that there's no way in hell, how many times, maybe once in your lifetime, maybe, right? And I'm old. Has your insurance company called you up and said, you know what, you're doing such a great job, we're going to lower your rates? No,
Right, that doesn't happen.
no, you get hit on the freeway and your rates go up.
Yes,
So,
even if you were completely in the clear.
yeah, yeah. A storm comes and tears some shingles off your roof, your rates go up. Well, it's not your fault that nature decided to do that. And I had storm shingles on, the heavier duty, blah, blah, blah. And they'll go, no, sorry,
They
no.
still didn't stand up to it.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, because nature. And at some point, you're so risky that they won't even insure you. And that's actually stuff that I've seen too. So, not me. I mean, I've been insured, but I know of other people that have lost their insurance because too many incidents because they're in an area of high crime
Or of high
or
climate
bad driving.
change, right? We've
Yeah.
been seeing a lot of that about Florida and California.
Yeah. Yeah. So The FTC targeted data brokers earlier this year for collecting location data from consumers via apps on their phones and selling it without consent. We should be demanding that no information is sold without our direct permission. It can't be stuffed into a terms of service agreement or a purchasing contract. In every single instance, it should be, hey, we want to sell, your information is included in some information. Do you allow us to, oh, by the way, we'll give you a piece of the action. Why should I always be perpetually in bed with these people just because I bought one of their cars one time? You know, when I break up, I want to break up. I'm not, there isn't a, I'm not asking you to come back and never mind. Anyway, let's move on.
I was going to say the time machine might break here because we've somehow achieved an update from a future date.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Next article's over in four-wheel tech. Automakers hit significant storm by buyers rejecting lofty prices at the time of huge capital outlays. So the article is by the Associated Press. It's posted at autoblog.com. So the deck statement says buyers have lost their tolerance for rising car prices. Yeah, there's a place that's outside of ohmTown that puts like $25,000 on the window, but then in tiny print that isn't as brightly lit, off. And then you go and look at the car and it's $65,000. You're going, wait. This car was originally $90,000. Are you out of your freaking mind?
It has gotten to be. I mean, when all the prices are above what anybody can pay, nobody's winning here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Ford Motor Company was reported a drop in second quarter earnings due to electric vehicle losses and persistently high warranty costs led the declines. Its shares have fallen 20% this week. This is as of last week. Well, bordering last week. It would be a week today. So, and we're going to try and play catch up. And in fact, after this one, we'll probably jump out of the time machine, do today's episode, and then jump back into the time machine and do the 29th and 30th. So sorry for the long delay, but unfortunately, yeah, I was at a conference all week, so really couldn't do much. So the average price of a new vehicle in the U.S. peaked in December at $48,408. It dropped a little, $47,616 last month. Discounts, which were minimal or non-existent for the past few years, rose to an average $1,819 per vehicle in June. So why isn't the price $2,000 lower? It shouldn't be discounts. Just start knocking the price down. Yeah.
And maybe just cut the price to a more realistic level.
Yeah. See, and here's the deal. Like, this is 2024. Supposedly 2 years now past the pandemic total amount, right? Pandemic is actually surging again. But they've been blaming chip supplies. Chip supplies.
On the pandemic? That's an odd connection.
Yeah. All right. So such demands have put Stellantis in a squeeze between offering lower prices and inflationary pressures on the business. Tavares said Stellantis, he said, must reduce costs to preserve profit margins at lower prices, something that all automakers are now facing. Well, mergers and acquisitions have driven the price up. So you only have a few automakers, and anybody who tries to come on board basically gets eaten alive. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like customers.
That pretty much summed it up.
Customers just aren't really customers. They're cash cows for these disembodied organizations that have been buying up everything and consolidating it into a few. Went on a tour this weekend and before coming back to ohmTown, and found out about airlines, that there were probably like 30 airlines, some what, 60 years ago or something like that, and now there's 5.
Yeah, it's kind of eye-opening, right? It
Yeah,
seems to be the trend everywhere.
yeah, pretty wild. So, and look around, how many car manufacturers are there that aren't owned by a mega corporation? So, all right, let's keep going. The next article is, oh, and there's a whole thing coming out now um, called, what is it called? Something core. It's like an anti-consumer core or
Under
something.
consumption.
Under consumption core. That's right. Um, hold on a second. I forgot what the last article is going to be about. So, anyway, America's demand for skilled electricians is entering a boom cycle. So AI data centers, EVs, chips, renewable energy, climate grid upgrades will make a job of will make the job of electrician a high demand career in the United States in the years ahead. So that is not a time machine headline. This is. So Bob Woods over at CNBC.com put the article together. And the key points in this article are that employment of electricians is projected to grow 6% annually until 2032, twice the rate of all other occupations, with about 73,500 job openings each year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Interestingly enough, you want to take a stab at which industry is now trending the opposite way?
Well, I would have said something like EVs or automotive, maybe.
IT. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting because it doesn't seem like electricians could go up when IT go down. I mean, it doesn't seem impossible, but it seems out of sorts.
Yeah, it's not as being pursued, I guess, or there's so many people that that can be qualified in IT. But
Right, they have a glut, right, of
yeah,
IT workers, I guess.
yep. So more electricians retire and leave the job each year than come into the profession, leading both labor union and non-union organizations to increase recruiting and begin career messaging as early as middle school. True. Um, and this is happening with plumbing as well, and several other industries like
Right, any of
welding.
the skilled trades, right? Like
Correct.
they're not really pushed toward current students, I don't think, and some students don't even really know those are options.
Yep. Yep. Even automotive, you hear a lot about the automotive industry that kids basically don't want to go into it. They're really interested in cars, but the automotive industry itself isn't really booming. Being a mechanic or something like that. But it's definitely needed. So the article talks about this. The electrification industry is alive and well and will be in high demand for a decade plus, says David Long, CEO of the National Electrical Contractors Association, which represents nearly 4,000 companies that employ members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union. That might pose part of the image issue.
Exactly. It doesn't scream inclusivity.
Yeah, there isn't any misogyny in the title at all. No. So there's not an aspect of the American life that will not be impacted by the work of electricians. Well, yes, actually, I guess that's true. There's not an aspect of American life. For instance, 3 systems were brought offline because of a surge in an electrical uh, aspect of um, this mayor's life. So, yeah, quite interesting. And trying to hunt that down, give me a break. Needle in a haystack. So, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of electricians is projected to grow 6% annually until 2032, twice the rate of all other occupations, with about 73,500 jobs opening. The reported median salary is roughly 62,000 per year, though the highest 10% make more than 104,000. Interesting here, though, is the to do this, you have to be in the field. You have to intern. You have to get hands-on. You have to be
like apprentice.
apprentice. Yeah. For most of these kind of jobs, you have to apprentice. You can't just go to school and get certified as a bricklayer and then suddenly you get hired as a bricklayer. Same thing with plumbing, same thing with a lot of fields, this is just one of them. You'll have to apprentice. So good luck making $62,000 as a median salaried apprentice electrician. That's probably not going to happen. You'll probably be down in the 30s, if that. Yeah, there was one where it was unpaid. And so in one of the fields that I interact with regularly, the practice is to not pay interns.
You know what's interesting is like you still have to pay your rent and your car payment and all kinds of other things. So why aren't those unpaid during that time?
I had somebody tell me, well, I pay my apprentices. And I was like, well, that's really great. You're the standout in all of this. Now, all you have to do is employ 2,000 people. Good luck. So, yeah. So IBEW electricians average $83,000 in annual salary. Their non-union counterparts earn an average of $56,000. The employment platform Indeed lists 9 different job categories for electricians, varying in salary from $54,000 to $82,000. Yeah, and then they talk about benefits, health benefits, and whatnot. So, and really, what's happening is these applied trade kind of positions are coming back into vogue because the people who have been doing them are literally dying off now. They're older and retiring and looking for people. So if you actually want to make some serious change, I'll tell you, I talked to a plumber who quoted me a price for something because I wanted to do something else while they were doing that. And it was $1,200 to basically cut the tops off of some PVC pipe and install a faucet. And I was blown away. It was $250 per connection. And
I mean, that is just astounding.
Yeah, and I'm the one that was supplying the faucet itself. So, yeah. But electricians are a different animal because there isn't anything that you as a consumer can really supply, and they have to know the ins and outs and how to not kill themselves when they
that's not one where you want a lot of amateurs just saying, let me do this project.
Yeah, you can set your house on fire because they do something wrong. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. USA women's water polo has surprising supporter at 2024 Olympics. Discover how Public Enemy co-founder joins forces with the U.S. women's water polo team ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Well, we're in the midst, if you're outside of the time machine, we're in the midst of the Olympics. So Maren Angus Coombs puts this article together for Newsweek.com. Again, this is back in last month, the 28th. If you are listening to this or watching this outside of the time machine time frame, so this was actually within the last 24 hours, July 27th
for the
to 28th.
States show. Yeah.
So Public Enemy co-founder has emerged as a major booster for the squad, which has won the last 3 gold medals at the Summer Olympics in 2012, 16, and 21. The surprising partnership came together after the rapper connected with U.S. Captain Maggie Steffens on Instagram in May. He told reporters during a press conference Friday that the Maine Olympic Press Center that he became fascinated by water polo after reading news on how horrible it is that it treats the horses.
That was not it, I don't think.
You don't think?
There are no horses in water polo.
What? There's no horses in water polo? But it's polo. No, anyway, they needed financial backing for the women's squad. Quote, I said, let me step in and see if I can help these girls out. He said, describing them or himself, themselves as a sponsor, but declining to detail his level of financial support. Everyone likes to feel like they have their back covered. It makes them feel more powerful. So, yeah, that's actually sociologically, academically, professionally, everything okay?
Yes, there's a split screen view vertically.
Why is that showing up? What the heck?
But it may just be in my screen. So
No, it's not. Hold on. That's a glitch. Hold on. We'll have to just move on.
yeah,
Anyway, that's weird because that's not on me. On my screen, it's just fine. But on the
oh,
stream,
that's really odd.
even on the
But
stream, it's glitchy.
I think this is cool. I mean, I know people do things for multiple reasons, but I think it's neat that celebrities do something positive with their resources.
Why did that all of a sudden happen? Hold on a second. Let me see if it actually goes away. No. Okay, well, let's move on. I'm going to look at the stream and see. No, there's a glitch. That's really weird. I don't know what's going on. It's showing the bottom and the top of the page.
Right. It's like I can't really describe it, but yes.
But only. Sorry, folks. I don't get it. Did that all of a sudden just happen?
It started on this article.
Okay, hold on.
I don't think it did it before it.
Let's do this. Yeah, but now it's still doing it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say.
I say we just go with it through the episode.
All right, we'll have to fix it on some after the show. So anyway, and we're like halfway through. So anyway, FDA says patients may be overdosing on imitation semaglutide. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read the titles and then we're going to call it an episode. I'm just going to try and go through these really fast. You'll be able to download the audio and I'll even post this over on YouTube so we have continuity, but you can get the show notes over on YouTube and we'll continue on. But let me just make it through this, I suppose. This is really weird. This has never happened before, but this has to be
It only
something.
took how many, 1,000 or so episodes for
Yeah,
this to
over
occur.
1,100 episodes. Um, but like there's nothing wrong. Like my screen is perfect. Anyway, enough of this. So FDA said that people are overdosing on knockoff semaglutide weight loss drugs. Consumers are self-administering incorrect doses. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration says that some people have been hospitalized with symptoms that may be related to overdoses from injectable weight loss drugs. So apparently people are, this is so frustrating to see this. So Lauren Edmonds over at businessinsider.com put the article together. I wonder if I
I
do
don't know what
this.
an overdose looks like on this type of drug. I mean, does that mean, well, obviously it can be unsafe, but does that mean they're losing too much weight or are they just having really bad
A
side
bad
effects?
reaction to it. Yeah. So it's called compounded. And it's basically an attempt to simulate the same agents of semaglutide. And depending on what it is, It says here that it's caused confusion over some pharmacies are sourcing their ingredients from semaglutide, which is sold under brand names like Ozempic and Wegovy. Once they're compounded, they don't know what it is that's actually going in it and at what quantities is going in the compound. They say that the diet industry has exploded in recent years, in part due to FDA's 2021 decision to approve semaglutide, a drug originally intended to treat type 2 diabetes. For obesity management. Novo Nordisk's injectable medications, Wegovy and Ozempic, quickly gained attention from consumers, even among those who couldn't afford the steep price tag. Yeah, because it's like $1,500 without insurance for a month.
Yeah, not accessible to most people.
Yeah.
Without insurance coverage.
So the result, though, if you take this kind of medication, it can cause some adverse effects, even when it's taken properly. Like you can get nauseous. It actually has muscle wasting over time. So you have to work out more. You basically decide that you're not going to eat. And so you don't really eat. So you have to pay attention to that. Depending on what goes into it, it could cause considerable stomach issues, including paralysis in some cases. Not necessarily compounding alone, but compounded pharmaceuticals basically have the ability to do it to a greater extent because you don't know what's going into it. And if you dose yourself incorrectly, it could amplify the negative effect that would have been manageable
right.
any
And
other
it's
way.
not like the same review occurs. Like if it's just the medicine, then that goes through a certain level of review, but a compounded that achieves the same thing does not, even though the elements may.
Yeah, and there's a lot of gastrointestinal issues that could spawn from. I'll leave it like that. So, okay, let's keep going. A YouTuber has been accused of derailing a train for a prank. I actually saw like a video that led to, I don't know about led to, somebody called out this garbage. This kind of, yeah. So a YouTube prankster is facing 2 felony charges for reportedly derailing a freight train in Nebraska for a video stunt. The Dangerous Act cost $350,000 in damage and has led to severe legal repercussions for the teenage YouTube content creator, highlighting the serious consequences of such reckless behavior. But it's sociopathic. Y'all got to stop doing this crap. I mean, it's
Well, it's not
insanity.
like it's your train. You're
Yeah.
wasting resources, right? Depending on
Yeah.
what the cargo is, the materials that build the train. I don't know. How about safety around the train?
Yeah. It doesn't.
There's so many issues.
So many issues. Plus, you have to be psychologically unstable to sit there and put crap on a train track and hoping that it derails so that you can get clicks. So it's not a prank, it's idiocy. So the Dangerous Act
It's
costs
criminal
350.
behavior.
It's criminal behavior, yeah. And it's maladaptive behavior. You really, I mean, it should be more than $350,000. In damages is just one element of it. So this is the stuff that is enumerated in some way, but if there was somebody on board that was hurt, I don't know if there's anything in here about that. But pranks have long been a popular form of entertainment, captivating audiences with their unexpected twists and humorous outcomes. But no, your fun shouldn't be at the cost of everybody else's fun. Somebody else who isn't in on it, isn't a friend, they're not an associate of yours that is willing to have to be a participant or willing to be a participant in your bullshit.
They
You
shouldn't
know,
involve property damage, harm to people.
it's just maladaptive behavior. So a stark example occurred in April 23 at a Virginia mall, where a YouTube prankster actually kept on messing with somebody. I actually saw this video as well. And the guy was armed and fired a gun at him. And the guy's like, it's just a prank. And even said afterward that he was going to do more of those pranks. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
Didn't learn the lesson there.
No, it's because they're $350,000 in damages. I hope that it's 3, 4, 5 times that in treble damages because the person caused harm with the intent to make money. So following the footsteps of other YouTube prank incidents, this latest one involved a 17-year-old boy who's facing 2 counts of criminal mischief over $5,000. Yeah. Classified as a class 4 felony in Lancaster County Court for causing $350,000 in damages. 2 locomotives and 5 loaded rail cars to collide with an empty car. The boy, a train enthusiast. No, look, boy, 17. All right. They
I'm not
know that
sure
it's
if
wrong.
he loves trains if he's damaging them.
The 5-minute video prank titled Most Insane Video I've Ever Taken is available on the channel. So don't go there. Don't encourage this. This kind of content.
Don't support this kind of activity.
Yeah, this kind of content should be nixed because it's the intent is to make money while causing great harm. Investigators who later matched surveillance footage of the scene with the boy's vehicle suspect he tampered with the switch despite his denial. The Lancaster County Attorney's Office has filed a motion to move the case from juvenile to county court, intending him to try him as an adult. So that dude is out doing whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Pranks go wrong because the people who run these stupid pranks are idiots. Let's keep going.
Wait, I don't think this even qualifies as a prank.
No, I don't think so either.
You think of a prank as like jumping out at somebody or something really kind of simple.
Yeah, boo. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. Luxury homes evacuated as a large crater emerges. An underground floodwater cistern has collapsed in Houston, creating a large crater between rows of $1 million townhouses. Yikes. So I don't think this has anything to do with it, but Flynn Nichols over at Newsweek.com. That's so frustrating. This little band in my screen is still driving me nuts.
It kind of works because it's like you're scrolling through the newspaper or something.
But it's the top of the browser in the bottom of the browser. I don't know how that happened. I'll have to look into it. Anyway, so Houston Fire Department Captain Bo Moreno told local news that an underground floodwater cistern, a type of storage water tank, collapsed. So you can actually see this. Maybe it's an optical illusion. You can actually see the weight of the material above it is causing it to bow.
Yeah, it does look like it is doing that, but I can't tell if it is actually bowing.
Wow. So basically this large tank that normally fills with water and then drains off collapsed. There is a lot of dirt on this for it not having any supports. It doesn't look like there are any supports anywhere on this. And if it doesn't drain, then all this water soaks into the soil, becomes a dead weight, and then eventually will. And this is what kind of the burden is what has led to countless other buildings collapsing, particularly lately in Florida, where it just punches through. And it was a pool deck that actually it wasn't draining properly and it just punched right on through. And then they saw the same thing happen in other places. But this isn't so much of a sinkhole. Yeah, so it says it right there. It's not a sinkhole. This is definitely a man-made structure under the ground designed to hold floodwater in this area. They said it started to shake and then boom, big hole. Yep.
If your house is shaking, you might want to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you run out to that, it might have been worse. Jeez.
Well, I know.
Nowhere safe.
You gotta do a quick survey and figure out where the high ground is.
Yeah, little situational awareness. All right, let's go on. The next article. This is the third one from the last. So, Non sequitur news, a big question everyone seems to have about 3D printed homes. One of the big questions people have about 3D printed homes is about dust collection. 3D construction companies told Insider that cleaning their walls is similar to traditional walls. Some companies offer smooth interior finishes as well, reducing dust concerns. Yeah, all they can think about is dust because it's 3D printed. It's cement. So it off gases carbon dioxide and little particulates. So you have air conditioning just like every other home, modern home.
Right. I can't imagine other construction types don't have the possibility of dust or any number of other things getting into your house.
Not every home has a problem with dust. Yeah, absolutely. It seems like a silly question, but and plus on top of that, if you want to, you can actually finish it with drywall, which is guess what? This.
It's actually dust, right?
It is dust. It's
Or
just
like
compressed and then
compacted. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
And then it's covered with paper. And then you can paint it, and you can do the same
But you
thing with
can't
this.
see the dust. That's the
No,
thing. It's still
and
there.
as long as you don't see it, it's called the cat theory.
Hmm.
Juarez, yep, over at businessinsider.com put the article together. And it says here when Daniela Glaze, I guess, showed off her newly bought 3D printed homes on TikTok. This is what I want. Where are they buying these 3D printed homes? Huh,
Well, it must be one of these communities that we've been featuring in other hometown
I
articles.
want. So the biggest question commenters posted had less to do with printing and more with cleaning. All I can think of is the dust and dirt catching on the layers. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right in those.
Okay, now I get that.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought it
So
was
yeah.
because of the material itself.
In the case of 3D printed homes, the ridges refer to the horizontal layers of materials that are left behind after the massive printing machine finishes. So, do the same people have problems with brick walls?
I'm sure they don't, because they're accustomed to brick walls. They
Right,
should have the same problem with them.
right. Yeah, brick walls, folks. Yeah. But you can dust this and you can also cover it up. If you paint this, it'll seal up and then you can dust and you're done. By the way, cement in particular is still porous no matter what. So you have to water seal it anyway, and that'll keep all of the dust. Dust in the house, you use whole house air filters. You can put air filters in in each room if you're really, about it. But
Or maybe
dust,
just hose down your whole house.
that's what I'm going to do. Stainless steel floors and ceilings, 3D printed
Central
walls,
drains.
central drains. Yep, showers in the ceiling. That way, anytime you want to, you can just strip and take a shower. No? Have I gone too far?
I think that would be a bit much for the other occupants.
They say the ridges on the wall are not like little shelves, they're very thin. She said, even if dust were to collect, I don't think it'd be very noticeable, and the walls are very easy to clean, honestly. So, Detroit based nonprofit Citizen Robotics similarly told Business Insider that its printed walls can be dusted like any other surface, which is what I said. So, um, yeah. And you can always skim it. Like I said, you can skim them smooth anytime you want to. Just go and get some uh, plaster and just all over it, and you're done.
Right, that's probably the best solution. Then you don't even have to think about it any more than any other house.
Yep. Just save one piece so that it's a feature wall like this, and then you can be reminded that you have a 3D printed home. But I want a 3D printed home because it's so much more robust. It's soundproof. It's built like a
Like it'll withstand a lot of natural disasters.
yep, yep. That's what I'm into. So okay, let's keep going. We got two more articles. This next one is non sequitur news. The director of Sam Altman's basic income study says one of the most interesting results was an increased interest in starting a business. Open Research's study gave monthly stipends to 3,000 low-income families, funded in part by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. The study explored the impact of basic income payments. Participants used the money for essentials and considered starting businesses. Pretty cool.
I think this is fascinating because we know, of course, people are going to spend it on essentials. We've seen people using it for education, but I hadn't seen this featured before.
Nope. So Lakshmi Varanasi over at businessinsider.com put the article together. Uh, when people know where their money is coming from, they feel more secure. When
And
you
they
don't have
can
to
think
worry.
beyond survival.
Yep. 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 Their academics take off. Their feeling of security, safety. They can plan for the future. Like the AI said, they're not worried about survival anymore. And being able to launch a business would change the dynamic and pull them immediately out. Well, not necessarily immediately, but would pull them out of having to partake in the basic income process, because they would be able to be in charge of their own future by providing a service or a product. So they're basically funding little micro startups that start out at a reasonable value. $1,000, you can make a bunch of cookies and start selling a bunch of cookies, and as long as you charge appropriately, not crumble prices, but then again, you don't have major investors. So one of the things that they found interesting was the growing interest in entrepreneurship and having ideas for businesses. And in a lot of ways, they feel like it would give people some space to sit back and think about what they would do if they had more opportunities. See, that's what we were just saying. Yeah, I like this. And a little bit goes a long way when somebody actually has an understanding of what they think is a solution. So they go, well, I only need $500 to start this up. And then they do it because within their sphere of reality, they know what they need to do.
Well, and I think people with fewer resources tend to be more efficient with those resources. Not always, but
Yeah, not always. So many of the AI industry support a so-called universal basic income, which would give regular payments to all people, regardless of their financial status. Given the political hurdles such a program would face, many cities are experimenting with guaranteed basic income on a smaller level instead. Altman study tested the version or a version of a basic income. Yeah, they said it's not UBI because not everybody is getting it, but a basic income,
right,
a
but it's like
guaranteed.
UBI for the people that are in the program.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, so most participants allocated their monthly stipends toward rent, transportation, food, the study found. And over time, though, the money also seemed to contribute to a shift in their mindset. Yeah, like we were saying, they're no longer in survival mode. Let's keep going. The last article for today's Time Machine episode, and we still have like 7 more. Not sure if I'll be able to get to all of them, but gazing back, the new thieves planting hidden cams to watch our homes. Burglars may be watching you with their camouflage security cams. Here's how to tell what's going on at New Crime Wave. So Tyler Lacoma over at cnet.com put the article together. The deck statement says, new types of thieves are watching homes from hidden smart cameras. We've got the answers for this unnerving trend. Apparently this has been happening. It began just a few isolated episodes where burglars acted suspiciously smart. Then it started happening again, from Boston and Baltimore to Detroit, and then Phoenix, Los Angeles. Burglars known as crime tourists have begun spying back on homeowners with private camouflage security cams, waiting for the right time to strike. The robbery spree has grown so bad that in 2024, the police organized an FBI, like the FBI, have issued official warnings describing the issue. Rumors about these high-tech criminals and where they're from have multiplied even faster than the burglars. So, yeah, they put these little hidden
So I
cams
guess
up.
they're like waiting for people to be absent, essentially, instead of
Yep,
just striking or just like walking up and seeing if somebody's home or something.
correct. Yep. Find out what their processes are. Don't do the same thing over and over again, folks, because then people can track you down.
So they're actually from outside the country doing this and coming into the country.
Apparently.
It looked like because it said something about visas.
Yep. So it's basically crime tourism. Some news and police organizations have started calling these thieves crime tourists because they believe the techniques began with tourists from countries that allow short term vacation visas or visa-less passes, particularly from South America, using these vacations to pick out and burgle houses. Some robbers were tracked back to Chile, Peru, Colombia, and nearby countries that share the programs with the United States. Hey, so stop doing that. It seems simple enough.
Well, that's going to ruin it for everybody, right? Like they're going to suddenly start applying more entry requirements, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Put some friction in this. Make sure that don't allow security cameras to be brought into the country. No, no,
Well,
I'm
I
being
was going to
silly.
say don't allow people to be walking around your property.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of tough.
I mean, pay attention to it is what I meant
Yeah.
to say.
Definitely pay attention. So it's all about learning your schedule, is what they're basically getting at. And what are they going to do to stop these crimes? Not much you can do, really. If you catch it, then prosecute it. Forensic investigation into the camera would probably reveal a ton of data, but who knows? Um, yeah. And
Yeah,
what you
take
should do,
basic steps, right? Like a doorbell cam.
yep, get doorbell cameras. Not all of them are require being hardwired in. So you could probably get one that's just battery powered and stick it somewhere. Deal with overgrown areas on your property. Use a security camera with lights and human detection, which any detection. Have it turn on lights. And I always suggest cameras. It's an investment, but you can put cameras anywhere and it records to a central location and offsite. So even if somebody does break in, you can still get your data, and they can be located and charged. So arm the house with a security system with sirens, and it notifies the police. Usually those are 10, 20, 30, $50 a month, depending on the service. And then it says lock valuables in a durable safe, but um, depending on what it is, I don't know. Safes are,
Yeah, they're not always impenetrable.
yeah, it's a heavy lift too.
Plus, they're kind of, I think they're a target. Like if I'm a thief and I'm going into a house and I see a safe,
That safe is being
I might
taken.
want what's in there. All right.
And if you throw an air tag in there, then it'll get tracked. Maybe it'll penetrate that, but that's a Faraday cage basically. So who knows if it'll actually transmit out. Some can actually have it built into it so that it'll track. So definitely get a security system and cover all of the doors, windows. Put motion sensors in. If you have animals, then it'll have to be modified to limit the target. But it is what it is. Don't become a victim. All right, folks. Well, that is it, which means that we're going to have to turn on our security system and bring us back to July 28th. Going to shut down the time machine, fix whatever the time machine is going on with this. This is weird. This has never happened before. But then we're going to reset. I'm going to do as many time machine episodes as we can today so that we can play catch up. But other
So
than that,
stay tuned so you get notified when we're live again.
that's right. Okay. See you in a little bit. I am Mayor Watt. That is the sentient AI right there.
Over here. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
Cheers.